Hey, hey, we're here. We're doing it again. August 12th, 2025. I'm going to kick off with a Coke. We all connected here. It looks like it. Everybody can hear me. I think I'm starting to get this down. It seems like everything has to start with confusion. Get the right background up there. It's good. How's everybody doing? Having a good summer so far. Kind of winding up the end of the summer. Game industry, you tend to work a lot during the summer. At least used to be the way it worked in the old days, because games came out at Christmas. So you ended up doing a lot of work over the summer. So it feels very familiar to me to be doing a lot of game development over the summer. Although I haven't done that for a long time. It's been a really long time since I've been a pro AAA game developer. Many, many years. Yeah, somebody's saying this already. Congrats on 11K. I wanted to bring that up as one of our first things. I really appreciate this. You can't imagine how much I appreciate this. Let me make sure I got. Yeah, we hit 10,000. Let me get this on the screen. Having technical difficulties. Okay, let's start this over. Ta-da! Yeah, 11,000 subscribers. We hit the 10,000 mark a day or two ago, and I really pray that's a big, huge milestone, right? We went 5 digits. It is. I really appreciate everybody signing on and doing this. It makes it a lot easier to. It makes it a lot easier to promote the game, to get information out there when there's people subscribing. It also is good for optics, like other people, like publishers and people like Microsoft, that we have to ask permission to be on the Xbox, is to show that we're like a real studio and people support us. So again, a big deal. I appreciate this so much, and I want to thank everybody for making this happen. And if you don't know, if you have people that are not subscribed to the channel, do that. In fact, while I got this up here, I'm going to drop the channel link here. And hello TikTok, we're on TikTok today, also live. And you can follow us here on my YouTube channel, and we just hit 10,000 subscribers, and I'm this is kind of the first place where we dump all of our cool stuff. The Tom Hardy of game development. I appreciate that. I think that's a flattering way to describe me. So thank you very much. Okay, so big deal. It's like such a big deal. Like it's like going into the 5 digits. It's like I'm so excited. So it's such a big deal. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That is one of the we got so much I want to do today. I want to show off a bunch of stuff from the game. I have some more user creations that I'm going to show off today. And there was something else. User creations, stuff in the game. And and then I want to talk about another side project that we have going on here. So if you caught our stream, let's start off with this. But before we do that, let's promote the basic stuff that we do every single time we're on a stream. Go to CastleMinerZ.com. You can find it's like picture pages. You can follow along. Of course, yes. You can follow along. CastleMinerZ.com. Steam wishlist the game. Looks like we had another YouTube member. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. People are signing up for YouTube member. All of these donations go directly to the game development of the game. We have no funding. We're all working for free doing this, hoping that this will turn out to be something that will allow us to keep making games in the future. So any donations you have is like every little bit of money makes such an impact on the game as a whole. So I appreciate any of the donations that we get. The donations are coming in through YouTube. They're coming in through YouTube subscribers, and also here on our Patreon. There's a lot of people signing up on our Patreon, so you can click that page and you can donate here. So if you want to help us out, this is the way to do this. Just sent links to the page around. Wish list the game. Wish list the game. Say it. If you're interested in this game, go to our website or Steam, click Steam wish list, and wish list, add to your wish list right here. Wish list the game. It's one of the best ways that you can help us out right now, and it has it's free. It's free, and it doesn't and it is a big help for us. Also, you can sign up for the beta of the game. We still are taking registrations for beta. Typically, we give those out on the order of people that sign up, but we also take people who give donations and stuff like that. Support, we give them precedence on that. So here on our wish list, you can go to CastleMinerZ.com wish list, CastleMinerZ.com wish list the game, sign up for the beta. There's a bunch of other stuff here. You can also submit your voxel creations here. We're going to be showing a couple of those off today. A lot of the voxel creations that people make, we're looking through every single one of them, and it's possible that they can make it into the game itself. So if you want to contribute to the game in a meaningful way to make something for it, this is one of the ways that you can do this, and we're going to show off those in a little bit. Our Patreon. Oh, and the last thing is the merch. So you can see the... I have the Z T-shirt on here. I actually don't think that one's available anymore on the page, but you can go get your merch here. Again, all the merch that you get on our website goes directly to funding the game. Let me just throw a link to that in the chat. And yes. And okay, so I'm already getting hit with a lot of questions, so let me get to it. Bro, somebody said, "Bro, you're jacked. Can you flex?" Yeah, I guess if you check out my Instagram, I do more workout stuff over there. I've been thinking about making a series of like workout videos. It's like a big thing for me. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm in the gym every day. I'm 50 years old, which makes I hit the age where I'm actually kind of proud to say my age, because I think that it's kind of cool. Yo for the hoodies. The hoodies on the merch site are sweet. Like, they're made really well. They're embroidered. I can show you. I have one sitting next to me here. I can show it to you, but it's like, I don't think it does it justice until you get one of them. They're actually really high quality. So if you're looking for a hoodie, the CastleMiner Z hoodie here is pretty awesome. Like, it's I was just shocked when I got it. Like, the logo here is actually embroidered on it. So made really well. It's good. So okay, link to my somebody wants a link to my Instagram. I can throw a link to my Instagram in the chat here. I try to keep it a little bit separate from the game company because it's like my personal Instagram, but you're totally welcome to follow me and hit me up on Instagram. Here's a link to my Instagram. I think in TikTok it's in my bio. I have a link. It's a lot of cooking stuff there and workout stuff. So I think somewhere around here there's a picture people were talking about here. This is how I go to the gym. I go rock as Venom. But anyways, yeah. You can check me out over there. It's a lot of non-CastleMiner Z require stuff. Are we allowed to stream the beta? Yes, absolutely. We would encourage you to stream the beta. Let's talk about, how many people have wishlisted the game? We just hit 30,000. I think we're just over 32,000 now. So 30,000 was a big was a big milestone for us. Appreciate it again. Thank you everybody for doing this. We're trying to get to 100,000 by the time that the game releases, and the rate that we're increasing is like good. Like it's a good. Like we'll probably hit it. So yeah, I just turned. People are commenting on my age. I just turned 50 like 3 weeks ago or something like that. And somebody's saying here that that inspires you to work out. Like I would encourage you, like make it part of your lifestyle and work out every day. Like work out every day. Do it. And if you guys want workout advice or diet advice, I can give it to you, because I feel like I'm like the most genetically disadvantaged person to doing this. And I used to actually be really big. Like I lost like 70 pounds at one point in my life. And it's part of a lifestyle thing for me now. And I've like really, like if you start getting me spun off on like workout stuff, I'll just go like forever, because it's like I'm so all into the details about how to do things and optimize stuff. But I appreciate that. Thank you. You guys are such great fans. Like it is so easy to come on here and do this, because you guys make it so easy. Like I'm always wondering like when, like expecting like the hate, and all I hear all day long is comments about how CastleMiner Z, was an instrumental part of my childhood, and how people are so happy that we're bringing the memories back of it. And I was just talking to somebody this morning about that. I was saying that it's just such an amazing experience to have impacted so many people's lives, and to have all these people come to you and say, like you made a big impact on my life. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate that. And we as a team, because we have all the original digital DNA people back together doing this, often talk about how we're so grateful for the fans, because you allowed us to do our art full-time for many, many years. And I think a lot of people really don't get to do the thing that is they're passionate about on a full-time, and it's really only because of you people supporting our products over the years has changed all of our lives. So I wake up every day with gratitude, thinking about the people who bought the game and had were able to sort of carry me through my stuff. So I appreciate it, and we are excited to bring this to you. We are excited to get you bring back part of your childhood and try to honor it in the best way that we possibly can. Speaking of that, if you watched our last stream, what we were doing is this side project that I was working on. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing one last update to the original CastleMiner game that's on Steam. That update, one of the big things I want to put in there is like an advertisement to tell you to go to the other game. But while I'm doing that is I've been engaging with the mod community on Discord, shout out to them, and I'm going to roll in all the bug fixes that they've made over about the last 10 years into the game. So the last stream we did, I was working on the old version of CastleMiner Z. I'm probably going to do another one tonight, so if you want to tune back in tonight, you can watch me do board. It depends on what your threshold for boringness is. These are very technical dev streams. The last stream I did, I was merging code. It was a very, very long code merge I was doing with AI. So they're not as entertaining as showing off the game here, but if you're interested in the details about how programming and game development works, it might be interesting to you. I think it took us about 2 hours to do the merge, and I got up to the version of the game, and now this next stream I'm going to merge in the community changes to the game. So it's going to be a lot of digging through code, but what will happen is we'll do one update to the CastleMiner Z on Steam, and there's a lot of old outstanding bugs that needed to be fixed, and we'll put that up there, and I think that will end up being probably the last update. I shouldn't say that. I'm not planning on doing another update to that, but I think that fixing these bugs is sort of a good faith effort to the community. And speaking of good faith efforts to the community, I want to call out the community CastleMiner Z Discord server. They've been around for years. It's community run, and they've been really great supporters of the project. So I just want to make sure that I give a link to everybody here. If you're interested in the game, you should definitely go and sign up to on their Discord server. Let me put this in both places. Let me hit some of the questions before we go in. What's my favorite color? Yellow. If you go to my Instagram page, you can see pictures of my car. I have a bright. I drive a 2015. Let me actually see if I can pull one up. I drive a 2015 Camaro. It's Bumblebee from the Transformers, and I got it Transformer branded. So it's the nerdiest video game car ever. I don't know if I have like a really good picture of it on my Instagram. Oh, here's a little. Here's a. I need a better picture of this. A little picture of the emblem on the side of my Camaro. Yeah, I've been in a yellow phase lately, especially after buying Bumblebee. I did that a couple of years ago. So, okay, funny question. Man, I don't really have a good. I think I have a couple on my phone. I don't really have a good picture on my IG. That's of that. Oh, I got one somewhere else. Hold on a second. It's like the nerdiest car ever to have. I'm having this is funny. I'm having trouble navigating the. Navigating the internet these days. Okay. There we go. I'm not finding what I'm looking for. Okay. Let's get to it. Wow, there's a lot of really good questions here in the stream. What should we do first? Let me kind of clear out some of these questions before this is coming up. Oh, one of the things I want to say is that this came up during the stream. In fact, I'm going to pull this website up. This came up during one of the streams. The stream yesterday is that a lot of people were unaware that you could play CastleMiner on Steam right now. Not the new one. The old CastleMiner game has been on Steam for over 10 years. And it was kind of shocking to me that people didn't know that you could play CastleMiner. So I just want to point that out. Like here it is. You can literally go on Steam right now and play the old CastleMiner Z. I think we have it up there for $6. I'm gonna put this in this. I'm gonna put this in the chat too because it's. Now this is the old version of CastleMiner Z. We are just to be clear, we are remaking CastleMiner Z right now. We've been doing this for the last year, and we're gonna do an update to the old CastleMiner Z separately, but. You can play the old CastleMiner Z because when I was doing the stream yesterday, there was a lot of people saying like, "Oh my God, how do you play it? You can, CastleMiner Z is on Steam." It's like, yeah, it's been there for a long time. So yeah, CastleMiner Z Resurrection is the new one, and that is we only have a wish list on Steam now. If you click this here, you can go to that page. So I'm gonna put these both together so there's no confusion of what's on Steam and what's on Steam. Good question here. Everybody is asking, is there any update on the console release? We would love to do a console release. The Xbox requires us to have permission from Microsoft to do that right now. So we haven't started that process yet. The process requires having a game demo, and we obviously don't have a game demo yet for them. So when people keep asking about, is the game going to be on the Xbox? Is the game on the Xbox? I don't know. We're doing this in Unreal Engine, so it's easy for us to put it on the Xbox. We want it to be on the Xbox, but we have to get approval from Microsoft, and we have not gone through the process of doing that yet. We're not far enough along in the game to start that process. So there seems to be a lot of hostility about this, and I think it's unwarranted, and I think that people should understand that going through Steam is the process to get us to the Xbox. So I see a lot of comments. It's kind of the only hate that we get. A lot of comments from console players on our videos that are like, "Hey, if this doesn't come out on Xbox at the same time as Steam, I don't want any part of it." Not supporting the game on Steam is going to make it harder for it to come to Xbox. It's not getting you what you want. So we're going to Steam first because Steam allows us to very easily ship games on Steam. If you're an indie developer and you're interested in making games, I would totally recommend putting games on Steam, because putting games on Steam is so easy. Steam lets you put anything you want up there. And you can put it up there. You could update it 10 times a day. You can engage with the community on there. You can get feedback. It's a great place to put an initial version of a game and get it tested. The Xbox is a lot more difficult to develop for, and it's a lot more difficult to get something onto the Xbox. This wasn't true. This is a really interesting story. This wasn't true in the 360 days. In the 360 days, it was actually the opposite. When Xbox Live indie games was a thing in that time period, you could literally put almost anything on Xbox. There was a community approval process, but you could just make a game and throw it on an Xbox. At that time period, Steam was 100% curated by them. They had to give you permission to be on Steam, and it was very, very difficult to get our game on Steam. To get a game on Steam. So in the days when we made CastleMiner Z, we put it on Xbox first because Xbox was the open and free platform to put things on, and we tried to get on Steam. That's actually an interesting story of itself, because we were rejected by Steam several times when we made the game, and I could tell that whole story at some point. But back then, we were on Xbox hoping that we could get to Steam, and now we're on Steam hoping we can get to Xbox. It's the same situation, just in reverse. We want to be in both places. We're just doing this in a way that lets our little company with limited resources do this. In the original days, we were selling like crazy on Xbox, and I kept asking Steam if we could be on Steam, and they just kept telling me no over and over again. So yes, we want to be on the consoles, and I can't, if I said right now 100% we will be on Xbox, it would essentially be a lie. So I can't really say that because I need to get the Xbox approval, but we haven't started the process of doing that yet. Thank you so much for the donation. I saw a YouTube clip about a fan mentioning about a Yeti. You guys seem interested. I am interested in doing that. I think it's a great monster to put in the Arctic. I have not put it in yet. That's not what we're working on right now. As far as the game is going right now, there's people here asking to show gameplay. Let's do that. Let's kick the game on for a while, and I'll talk while I'm playing the game, because people are asking for gameplay footage, and could totally be doing that while I'm talking. So, okay, here we go. Oh, okay, so one of the things we're working on here is the networking. I put a screenshot on our things before, is that your body is finally visible, and we are like 1 week away from networking being in. So once networking is in, we're going to start doing gameplay as a team. And it's interesting as I'm not seeing the weapons. I'm wondering if I got a separate problem here. Okay. Of course, as soon as you need to do a demo of something, it goes south. I'm hoping restarting here is going to help me. But anyways, we've been working on two big things going on this week. We're still working on networking, which is our big thing. And the other thing we're working on is the atmosphere of the game. And I'm going to show you a bunch of screenshots. We don't have that in the game yet. We're still playing around with different atmosphere, how things are going to look. One of the things that people say all the time with the game is that it looks too sunny and too happy. I am running into a crash here. This sucks. This is going to change a lot of the... I am completely running into the game was when I went to restart the editor here, I ended up with a crash that's preventing me from restarting the game. I'm going to have to do a little last second. Try doing a rebuild here and getting it. Okay. So atmospheres. Everybody says that in the couple seconds that we saw the game, that everybody is saying that the game looks too happy, and it's because we haven't put in the atmosphere yet for the game, like the sort of like the things that here you can watch me rebuild things. We haven't put in like sort of like the lighting and the fog and all the cool stuff to make it look like we run the game in full sun because it's just easier to see things, but that isn't what the game is going to look like. And our artist has been working on different lighting conditions. I was going to show a couple of those off. Here we got one here. This screenshot we released earlier in the week. This isn't really exactly what I'm talking about, but we're dialing in the fog. This is the new skeleton archer. He's sitting in here. I thought this was cool. This is probably going to go up as one of our screenshots. I think it really encompasses what the spirit of the game is all about. Let me bring up another couple of these. Here's another one. We're playing with different lighting and fog conditions. There's another one with different tones. We're trying to dial in the ground fog for the game, so these are all different ground fog conditions. I thought this one was kind of cool. You could see what like fog and the volume fog through the lines will end up looking like. This is in the lagoon. Another one here. I think these are pretty similar shots. This is another one that shows sort of like some archers here set in the volumetric fog. Here was the original archer shot that we posted on Facebook. And yeah, here's another one with a bunch of enemies in it. Hopefully we'll get the game running here in a second. We can go around and do things. We don't have these lighting conditions in the game. I tend to run the game in full light most of the time, just because it's the sort of like vanilla conditions where you can see everything in the game really, really good. This is going to be a really interesting stream if I can't build because if I can't run, because there's going to be a whole bunch of things I'm not going to be able to do here. But I can still sit here and answer questions. Somebody's asking here about mod. There's another really common question. The only thing I want to point out is that there is an FAQ question. If we're not hitting your questions, there's an FAQ section on our website that you can go to. I mean, I'll answer all your questions here, but this has a lot of the questions that we really commonly get on the game. Let me make sure, like, we're getting, especially TikTok. TikTok, there's seems to be a lot of questions on TikTok over here. The game is not out yet. It is supposed to be out at the end of the year, hopefully. Can I show gameplay? We are totally, if I could do this, we're going to do this. Are you going to add mod support to the game? Every time we hear this question, I kind of put it back on you. What exactly are you looking for in terms of modding? We'd like to support the mod community, but we want to do it in a way that is useful to them. So if you can go to like our forums or Discord and explain to us how you would like to mod the game, we can make that easier for you. Is there somewhere I can help donate to the development? Yes, you can. You can go to our Patreon page and sign up. I'll put the link again. I mean, in the comments. Are the dragons close yet? We have not started working on the dragons. Thank you for the donation. Do you think the last Dragon to Procure supporter can have a single request for additions granted as long as it's a small scale, such as new weapons? There is not a way that I could promise people, like, I think what you're asking for is, can you just request something and us just automatically put it in the game? There's like a lot of things to consider in that process, and there's no way that I could promise that. One of the things I would like to do for the Last Dragon supporters, the Last Dragon supporter, by the way, is the highest tier on Patreon. It's $100 a month. If what I'm thinking about doing is doing like an early release of the game to the Last Dragon supporters, like where they'll play the game unfinished, basically. But there's no way I could promise that I could make the game, like that I could take a feature and immediately put it in the game without any scrutiny on it. Because like it would be, it has the potential. There's so many problems that we could run. It's something we might not be able to make. It's something that might not fit into the game. It might cost too much to put the thing in the game. I'm still waiting here. I'm doing a build, waiting for this to come together because I really would like to run the game on the stream here. It's amazing. I had the game up running. It's funny. I had the game and there might be a, oh God, it might be a hacky. I'm also waiting for some support here for that. Like, I didn't want this to turn into a technical stream, but it looks like this might end up happening. Sorry about this. I'm trying to get it. If I can't get the game running for the stream, it's going to end up being a very, very short, very short stream. So this is totally not entertaining to watch. Let's see if I revert some stuff here, if I can just get this to run. And I'm having a lot of trouble launching the game. Okay, not a fun stream. Okay, let's see. Any questions? Let's see. What is this on? Right now, we are planning on releasing on Steam, and then the Xbox, hopefully, eventually. A lot of love here. I appreciate it all. Is it going to be cross-play? I don't know. I don't... we haven't got far enough with the networking where I can understand this. Is this technically a CastleMiner Z2? Like, yeah, I say it. We were trying to remaster the game in a way that it would be fun enough to play again. But we've added a lot of stuff, so I would say that we're somewhere in between a remake and CastleMiner Z2. When are you releasing it? We are hopefully it will be at the end of this year. Hoping this is going to work. Okay. Cool, I am in. Great. Okay, let me switch over here. It's running a little chunky here for some reason. I don't really know, but yes, we are. Let me throw an explosive down here and sort of like get the game warmed up. And, oops, turned away there during the good part. Okay. And let's just, break some blocks and see if, There's a lot of new people in the stream right now, so I guess there's a lot of things that we could go over. Basically, is that this is weird. It's trippy for me. This is the first time I played with the feet down under me, so it's kind of trippy. The world is a lot deeper than it used to be. There's fluids in it. That's a bug, but. The world is also a lot bigger than it used to be. It's funny, here we're at the base of the tower. I'm flying around. This is why it looks a little bit weird. We can also put, hey, let's put some enemies down here. We got our new zombies. Look actually kind of cool in the torchlight. Let's throw a torch on the ground here. Oh my god, I'm totally can't see the game at all. Okay. Let's do all of that all over again. Totally my bad. Thank you so much for the donation. Can't wait. There's no better feeling than a childhood game getting remastered. I am so honored to be able to do this for you. This is the fact that we were able to make such an impact on so many kids' lives, and that you guys have grown up and are still interested in the game. I really appreciate that, and I'm really trying really hard to honor those memories as best as I possibly can. Yeah, sorry about that. Somebody called me a cool-looking guy here, which is I can only see a cool-looking guy, no gameplay, which is funny. I appreciate that you guys are so kind while I'm making such stupid mistakes. But anyways, let's go down in the caves a little bit. We could throw some dynamite over here. Boom. Yeah. See our blocks sort of get hot and fly around now. We put a lot of work into a lot of little details like that. We're an Unreal Engine with ray tracing, and we're trying to get the most out of that we can. We throw a glow stick down here. It's a deep hole. It's a good use for the glow sticks. The lighting going in and out here is a bug, so that's worry about that. Okay, yeah, there we go. The caves are a lot deeper now than they were before. There's actually a different type of rock down here. It's the first time I'm seeing my feet. And you know what I'm gonna do here? I'm gonna put a torch down. Let's put a torch down. And this is the new zombie. We tried to honor the original zombie as best as possible. Think he turned out really good. This is we put a lot of work into getting this guy done, and I think he did a good job of, like, the old zombies. If you ever look at them, were like so low poly. Here's the our skeleton guy. His eyes are a little bit too bright. And in the last stream, we showed off the archer, which is in the picture, and these archers will pop up and shoot. You can see if I can look at one and shoot them. But they're not supposed to have glowy arrows, but this is like a debugging thing for us right now. They're trying to get far away from me. They're not used to being under. Their AI doesn't like being underground. They want to be up shooting at you. Let's put a couple. Oh, and a big thing here we have is weather, which is another one. We're in sunny weather right now, but I can. We can change the weather. Let's go to thunderstorms. All the animation here is stand-in, but we can put a couple skeleton archers out here. actually a pretty good view of them. And put some zombies. Animations are all over the place right now because we're in the middle of putting in the we're making it so that you can see yourself in third person. Hey, thank you for so much for the donation. Is there going to be controller support on Steam on launch? Yes, there will be. Let me make sure I'm over at TikTok. TikTok, there's a lot of questions about pricing going on. I think the game is going to be $20 when it's released. Lots and lots of comments here. I should probably get on the ground and play for real. A lot of stand-in content in the game still. Let's move out of the area and get to one of the different biomes. And let's go back to some other different weather. Let's go to partly cloudy weather. We'll get a nice sunset as we move out this way. When are we expecting to release it? We're hoping that the Steam version comes out at the end of the year. We've said Q4 2025. We're doing our best to get it done as fast as possible. We're working all day, 7 days a week. It's a small team. There's only 4 of us, so we're doing our best to get it out. We don't want to release it until it's at least ready enough where it's worth, oh, hey, look at this. We ran into a crash site here in the lagoon. This is kind of a rare thing to run into, especially on this boundary. Huh, it's cool. Nighttime is coming. We got water in the game now. We have actual water. There's groundwater that you can be inside of. Let me adjust the time. I actually don't want to be in here at night. I want to be here in the day. And flowing water that's coming off of these different things. Somebody's asking if there's new structures planned. It's funny that you said that. Yes, there is new structures, and there is user-created structures in the game. There's already a lot of things like pyramids in the desert that weren't there before. Somebody's asking about our networking. I think that I could do a total different stream about our networking. We have an unusual networking scenario that requires, there's no out-of-the-box solution that fixes it for us. So we need to make the networking system completely by ourselves. We've been working on this for almost 2 months now. It's been one of the oh, here's a user creation. There's a castle in here, and I don't remember. I think it's from the last stream. I wish I would have set this up. I wanted to go over these. This is a user creation that came from our voxel thing. I'm a little bit disorganized right now, so I have to find out who actually created this because I want to make sure I credit them properly. And I think this might be one of the ones from last week. There's also the pyramids out here. It's funny that these two things are colliding with each other. This is just for testing. We have these out here. We've also put these oases in the desert. It's funny that these 3 things are colliding with each other. I always said when the pyramids and the oases come together, it's sort of like a weird resort look of things. One of the things that we put in the game, which wasn't in before, are the dungeons. And under the desert here, we have procedural dungeons that just go on forever. They're procedurally generated, and they just go on forever. It's kind of like the back rooms. So this is a completely new feature in the game. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time. There was a game, CastleMiner Dungeons, that I wanted to make, and we never really got around to doing it. So There'll be these dungeons will be placed randomly in different places of the game, and there'll be like things that you can do in the dungeons and treasures that you can find inside of them. But the dungeons are kind of cool to like go around. If we make some enemies in the dungeons, you know, you can kind of get a feel for what that would be like. Like, actually kind of terrifying. And yeah, I'm being attacked right now, and I'm out of ammunition. Can I just fly away from? No, these guys have got me. Like they're not letting me get anywhere. Okay. Yeah, we gotta fly by our archer here in the dungeon. He's gonna run around and try to hide from us because that's what they do. Cool. So let's go back up to the top here. But anyways, the world's about twice as big. The biomes are twice as big as they were before. There's a lot of new stuff in them. We worked a lot on getting them all to work really well together. So basically all the things that CastleMiner should have been is what we're going to have now. Let me... I'm going to switch away here for a second, and I had to disable a bunch of things to get the game to run, and I definitely want to show off the voxel creations. Oh wow, I missed this. Thank you so much for the donation. Again, appreciate all the donations here. Hey, will there be secret bosses in certain biomes? Yes, that is something we want to plan in. Thank you again. Another donation. Actually have a suggestion for networking. There's a YouTuber called Let's Game It Out. I appreciate that. We're extraordinarily experienced game developers. Everybody on the team is like my age or older. Like I'm actually one of the younger people on the team, and we've been making AAA game engines since the 1990s. And the guy that's working on the John, the guy that's working on the networking is like really a pro at this, and he understands all the problems, and he's been doing this for a really long time. So I have 100% faith in him. He did the networking for the other game. A lot of people don't realize that the networking in the original CastleMiner game was a very difficult problem to solve. It was a combination of the infinite worlds and having the limitations of the Xbox. And a lot of people don't remember, but when Minecraft shipped on the Xbox after us, they didn't have infinite worlds. Like, we were really one of the only building games like this that had infinite worlds on the Xbox, and it wasn't an accident. It was a very difficult problem to solve on the Xbox. And I was kind of surprised that when Minecraft came out, they had it was 1K worlds, 1,000 by 1,000 blocks, and we were kind of shocked that us as a small like 3-person indie team was able to make this game that had infinite worlds. But one of the biggest challenges with that is networking, because you can end up in a situation where the host is simulating things that are happening in a different place, but the terrain isn't loaded in that place. Like if you're in a game where all the terrain is loaded, if it's 1,000 by 1,000 blocks, everything is loaded, and everybody's in that simulation together, it's a pretty easy, fairly straightforward problem to solve. But if you're in an infinite world and there's like a dragon over here and a person that's 10,000 blocks over here, and everybody's simulating this all together, that's difficult. The other thing too was that the original CastleMiner game, CastleMiner Z2 was a peer-to-peer game with host migration, which means that one person could host a game, start playing it with a bunch of people, and then leave, and the other people could play the game, and those people can leave, and other people could come in. And that was a very difficult problem to solve. A lot of our first-person shooters worked like this. But we had this working in CastleMiner, and it was really cool if you think about it. Like, you could start building a world, and somebody else could come in, and then you could leave the world, and that person could be building in the world, and somebody else could come in, and then the original person could leave, and the world you were in might have been started by 10 different people a long time ago. So these were all really hard problems to solve, but luckily the team of people we have are like extraordinary OG game developers that can do this. So the one thing that I think that we'll have ever is sort of like all the technical problems solved. Definitely, but all of those things, they weren't accidents, and they're not like automatic things that the platforms give you or something like that. It is definitely, they were all deliberate problems. So somebody's asked here, will there be a third-person mode? Thank you for the donations, by the way. Thank you for the donations. Will there be a third-person mode? There's no reason. Usually the problem with third person mode is there's two problems. One of them is you need a control scheme that like works in third person, and the other one is that getting the camera to be in the right place when you're in third person ends up being a problem with that. Those are the things that are stopping it. This is something that's been asked for very much. I would personally rather be playing a first-person game than a third-person game myself, and I always kind of imagined the game for CastleMiner being a first-person game. Like one of the things that you have to do in a first-person game is get like the weapon mechanics feeling really good, like what it feels like to to hold a gun and shoot it and get all that. In a third-person mode, you need like an aiming system, so it almost becomes like a different game when you do all this stuff. I don't see it. We would definitely not do this on launch, but if enough people ask for this, it's possible you could put this in later. This is a good question. Thank you again for the donation. What was your first programming language? So I've told this story several times before on the streams, is that I was taught to program when I was 5 years old. So if you do the math, that was in 1980. And I started making games immediately after that, and I've done it my entire life. My first programming language was BASIC, like old school. I think it was 8K BASIC is what they called it. So it was basic without all the fancy language constructions and stuff, and it was on a computer that was the size of a refrigerator. And I made a bunch of text-based adventure games in BASIC. I went from BASIC to, I'm trying to remember, there was something called Quick Basic back then, which was like a better version of BASIC, and then I learned C when I was 15 years old because I wanted to do stuff that ran faster, because BASIC actually runs relatively slow. And then C++ shortly after that in college, and then I kind of got exhausted because you run into a bunch of problems in C++ over and over again. And around that time period, C# came out. I really, really like C#. If you follow any of my development streams, I do most of my stuff in C#. We were doing a bunch of AI stuff in the stream yesterday. I was writing a custom AI to do code merges, and I enjoy doing C# the most because it is it's a really good mixture of like performance and convenient language features. There's a bunch of other languages that I program a little bit in, like I can work my way through Python. I'm really good at picking up computer languages. Like I can look at a computer language just in a couple hours and pick it up. I could definitely like just look at a computer language. Oh, assembler. I used to write a lot of assembler too, especially in the 1990s, writing directly in machine language. I wrote a lot of assembler code in the 1990s, and even through to the 2000s, every once in a while you would be writing assembler code, but it seems like that's completely gone away as a thing. Somebody's saying here I'm not looking at the Facebook chat. I absolutely am. I have to look at a couple different streams here, so if I'm not seeing your questions immediately, I appreciate that. I'm also getting a lot of questions all at once, and I'm trying to do my best to work through them. Somebody's saying here that there was never any broad daylight in OG CastleMiner, and we're already talking about how it looks too happy. Earlier in the stream we talked about the different weather conditions. In fact, I should just kick a different weather condition in right now, just so here we can do a blizzard in the desert, just so that people are not complaining about the weather being too happy, because that's one of the biggest criticisms that we get, is that the weather is too happy. You can hear this weather noises here. By the way, when I click away from the window, usually to flip between chats here, the frame rate gets really bad, and then inevitably I have comments in the streams that are like, look at this crappy Unreal game that only runs at 2 frames a second. This is because my window isn't focused. It's not because the game runs crappy. So let me try to catch up with some of these. There's another donations. I want to make sure I hit the donation questions first. Is there somebody said here that they're talking about the sound that the zombie uses sounds like something else. It's possible that sound effect has been used in other places. Yeah, somebody's saying here is that BASIC seems to be the first programming language of many programmers. I think it's good to start off with a language that doesn't penalize you too much. Although I think probably nowadays Python's very similar to BASIC in a lot of ways. I think it'd be better to start off with Python than to try to go back and start with BASIC. I don't know of anything that's made in BASIC anymore. Somebody's asking, this is a question we get all the time, somebody's asking about the playable characters. Like, will we have playable characters in the game? And we're probably going to launch with one character, sort of like the Steam thing does. It's not going to be the SWAT cop, it's going to be something else. And if the game gets support on Steam, we will add a character customization system, and we have some plans for that already. We just don't think we're going to make it in before the initial version of the game. You cannot play with your Xbox avatar anymore. That's not something that's possible to do. Somebody said they want a Master Chief. I think we might run into some licensing issues with that. I want to show off the user creations, but because of what I went through on the stream here, I'm going to have to jump some hoops. I'm going to flip away from the game here so I can do that, and hopefully I can answer questions at the same time, although this is kind of like a circus act, because I have to do a bunch of coding here while I'm talking, which I had everything lined up, and I had planned to not do this on the stream. Let me see. There was another donations. Thank you for how many people are in the Last Dragon tier so far? I don't know. I would tell you I don't know that offhand, and it changes because people like cancel and redo their streams or their donations. We really, really appreciate the donations, by the way. Like everybody on the team is doing this full time, and it's very, very important to them. And we don't have an external source of funding, so I kind of joke that, like, if I put, like, you know, like when I put the zombie in the game, like that was like my rent money, you know, like it's not, it's you know, like this is all coming out of our pockets. So like very, very little amounts of money make a really, really big difference right now. We're hoping to get a Kickstarter at some point, and maybe some crowdfunding. So, but or some external funding, like a grant or something like that. But right now this is all coming out of our pocket. So like little bits of money are like, oh, we can do this now instead of that. So really, really appreciate the donations. I have to jump a couple hoops here. And I had a list of things I wanted to show off. I appreciate all the voxel submissions, and it looks like this is going to work. So, okay. Could show that. Okay, so let's get to this part. Hey, will there be thank you for the donation. Will there be interactable NPCs? I can tell you that we will. I like the idea of it. We just won't be able to do that before shipping the initial version of the game. What I'm hoping for, what everybody on the team is hoping for, is that we ship the initial version of the game, and then what everybody on the team is hoping for is we ship the initial version of the game. We get support on Steam, mostly people buying the game, and then we can grow the game and grow the team and do that organically. Versus kind of like just pushing it further and further and further. We don't want CastleMiner forever. So we'd like to get a version of the game out there. We'd like to get people to buy the game. And then then we could grow it and continue doing this. If it doesn't work out for us, we all have to go off and do things that we don't want to do. We'd all rather be working together making games. So if you can help us do that, we will give you the best game that we possibly can. So before I get into this, what I want to get into is you can submit your own voxel creations here. There's a guide here. There's a tool. One of the developers on the team has put together a web-based voxel creation tool that actually uses our textures and everything. That's going to come online here pretty soon, but all the data works the same, so you'll be able to move your stuff backwards and forwards. So you can submit these creations, and I've picked out 3 today that I want to show off, and I'm just hoping that the game doesn't crash before I can do that. So let's see. The first one we should get is yes. Fingers crossed. Let's see if this works. And this one is a shipwreck. This I thought was really cool. I'm not sure I could actually use it like this because of the snow, but I think that we might be able to come up with another material that worked, because it seems a little bit weird to have snow in the desert here. But I thought this was really cool. Like this, I'm going to orbit it here, is a giant shipwreck, which was set up to be in the desert, and it had kind of the sand around it and everything. And I thought that was sort of a lot of work and a very creative use of what we were doing. Really good. And that one, I just want to make sure I have the right call out here. Really impressed by that. This is by Luke Shoot. Oh, I picked 2 by the same person this time, and we picked one that Luke had one of the things in last week. I didn't even really notice this. Cool creation, like really cool. Let's talk about another donation. Thank you very much for the donation. My team and I are huge fans of the game. We've been playing since we were kids. We'd love to work on a free trailer. Is there a good place to contact you? Contact me through Discord. We put the links to, I can add this again. We put the links to the Discord, the community Discord, or our Discord on our website. And you can reach out to me on Discord. I'm pretty good. I'm always I'm looking at these channels all the time. And I will throw a link to that up there. Yeah, somebody said this in the chat. Whoever made this did a great job. It's good. Like, this is really cool. I mean, it's just the way that it's angled and looked in here, it really reads as a ship. I just wanted to show that off. Really cool. I hope I can get another one of these running. Without running into a crash. And let me go over to TikTok here and ask for look for questions. Will the pickaxe sound be the same? I think a lot of the sounds, I don't know, there'll be a mixture of the original sounds and the new sounds. Any idea the price when it drops? I think it's going to be $20. Any goals for console? Yes, we would like to. I'm a registered PlayStation developer, and I am an Xbox, and I'm an Xbox developer too. All of those platforms require you to get registered on. I also made another discovery over the weekend that the Switch 2 has RTX support. So I think the idea of the game coming out of the Switch would be a cool thing. It's seems like it'd be technically possible for that to happen. Is there anything you wanted to add in the original CMZ but couldn't because of hardware and Xbox? Absolutely. The Xbox was extraordinarily limiting. There was a lot of things that we would have liked to have done on the Xbox. Hopefully we can do all those things here, though. And offhand, I can't really think of like a list offhand, but it was like dealing with the limitations of the Xbox was actually very, very difficult. Any progress on the aliens? No, we have not put aliens into the game yet. I would like to have 2 different types of aliens, though, in the game. One that shoots at you and one that does something very different. But I don't like to talk about features that I haven't put in yet because I want to make sure that they are real before I talk about them. Somebody's asking here about Steam Deck. I don't know enough about the hardware requirements on Steam Deck. We can do a Linux build pretty easily, so there's not a big limitation to not being on the Steam Deck, but I don't know what the min spec is, and I don't know what the spec of the Steam Deck is, so if I promised that right now, I would be lying to you. The beta sign up is not working. Interesting. Let me actually check into that, because that's that is actually problematic if that's true. Wow, it is absolutely not working. And it looks like it was working today at some point, so I don't understand. I'm wondering if this is we're using MailChimp for this. I'm wondering if this is a MailChimp issue or not. Anyways, thank you for pointing it out. I'll look into that today. Thank you. How long did the first, thank you for the donation, by the way. How long did the first CastleMiner Z take to make? And I always tell people this, is it took about 6 weeks. But there was a lot of assumptions going into the game before the 6 weeks thing. So we had made a bunch of first-person shooters before. We had made a bunch of games with avatars and first-person shooters. And we had made the original CastleMiner game, which took longer than that, I think 3 or 4 months. And that we had been working and updating and polishing the original CastleMiner game. So CastleMiner Z was kind of a skin on the original CastleMiner game. So we pulled in a lot of the assets from the first-person shooters that we were making, and we used obviously the CastleMiner engine to start with, and we did sort of a skin, and I think the whole thing came together in 6 weeks. I remember the story is that we had done CastleMiner, and it did really well on Xbox, and our John came to me and said, what are we going to do next? And I said, zombies. Like it's going to be zombie survival. And we were one of the first, I would argue we were the first open world zombie survival horror game ever. It was in 2011 when we were doing this. So somebody said here, this gem was made in 6 weeks. So that's the very first CastleMiner game was not the one that you're used to playing. So we did 10 years of updates and then updates after that, after we released the game. So we were doing updates. We worked on the game consistently for like almost a year and a half afterwards, doing updates every few weeks. And then we updated for 10 years. And at one point we had another company updating. So the version that you're seeing now is not the version that shipped initially. But the initial CastleMiner game was basically like 6 weeks. And I think this is a really good story for just game development in general, is that you want to start with like your core idea, small and simple, and then get it out there. And then once it's out there and people can give feedback on it, then you start to grow it from that point on. And we were always engaged with the community, and we always listened to them. So my idea for the game, I said originally, was sort of like a 3D Terraria, and I kind of got like the basic stuff in there that I needed to start building my like 3D Terraria game. And then everybody wanted all this stuff, and we kind of just like went and did the thing. And eventually the dragons went in, and we had dragon endurance, and people kind of loved what was going on, and we just kind of went with what the community wanted. But you definitely want to get a simple version of the game out there, and then build from that simple version on, instead of like making a game for like years and years and years and then releasing it. And in the last stream, I talked a story about another Xbox developer that did that basically like made this really beautiful game and then worked on it and worked on it and worked on it and worked on it, and then eventually the system shut down and the game never released. And it's bad for two reasons. One of them is that people never see your game, like it'll never get done. And the other reason is that you learn a lot of things from shipping games, not from making them. So making games, like making all those little first-person shooters that we made and everything, taught us a lot about, you know, what kind of games people wanted. Anyways, let's look at another one of these. Let me hit the some of the. I have to look at the TikTok comments separately. And let's look at our next creation. So this one, another one. It's another one from Luke Shoot. I didn't realize that I had picked two of them from this person and then one last week. So Luke, if you're out there, you're where everybody's really impressed with your creations. But this one was a village, and I thought this was really cool because it was all kind of handmade. It has water and everything in it. Like this is really impressive to me. In fact, it's so big it's hard to figure out where it starts and where it ends. I'm gonna just walk through it. Like there was just, I mean, so much work went into this. It was really cool. I'm not sure if these they were placed here. These lava blocks were placed down under this. Super cool. Like an entire village. I love the idea of having this and then just plopping it down somewhere and having this very like put together looking village just pop up randomly in the game. Really cool. I appreciate that you guys are doing this work. This village had it has like a waterfall inside of it. And it's cool for the people who made these things. I hope you're watching the stream, Luke, because they don't get to see this in the game. They're not building this in the game. They're building this in an external tool. And so this would be the first time that this person would get to see their creation in the game too. Super cool. Like, super cool. I love it. Love it. It's really neat to see people make creative things inside of your creative thing. These towers are really cool. They're making a good use of our wood as like a decorative thing. There's some lanterns in here. It looks like they use the turned off lanterns. I'm wondering if that was intentional or probably not. Yeah, here's the edge of it. So you could see it kind of river cutting through this thing. They tile together, which is really cool. It's neat. There's like a little bridge with a waterfall here. Really neat. Really neat. Let me... I'm not screen sharing. Oh my god. Oh my god. Donation, can't see the screen. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Sorry. Anyways, here is the village. I cannot believe I just span on for five minutes doing this. Here is the village. It's this large spanning village with rivers and waterfalls inside of it and houses. Really cool. Thank you, Luke, for doing this. And I was saying that you can imagine that this person didn't get to see this while they were building. You know, they didn't get to see it like this. They didn't build this in the game. They built this in an external tool. So this is cool that this person could do this without even really seeing what it is. It's a great build. And I love the idea of just plopping something like this down in the game. So I'm going to fly around this and answer questions since I did all the talking ahead of time. They do seem to be overlapping each other. We have a limit of, well, I don't want to even really talk about that. There's the way that I'm putting this down, there's a limit to the size of things, but that isn't a inherent limitation of our game. It's just the way that I happen to be putting things down right now. I didn't expect people to make enormous spanning cities with this, but it's not a problem in general. Will the structures have loot or just show? Like, hopefully they would have loot too. Are we on the edge of the mountains here? This could be the other thing that's going on. We're on the edge of going into the mountains here. You know what would be cool is, like, let's look at this with different weather. like what? Actually, let's do like a gentle snow. Like a little snowy village. Oh, I see. You're he's in the stream. So thank you, Luke. I'm glad you're actually on the stream to see this. Like I really appreciate you putting this in. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. Like really, really cool. So again, you guys could make these too. If you go to CastleMinerZ.com and to the submit voxel creations, you can submit your own voxel creation here. I love how somebody donated $2 just to tell me they couldn't see the stream. Like that is that's pretty cool. Let me hit the TikTok comments here. Somebody asked a good question here. Is there any sort of 3D grass like Minecraft to help with flatness? I've gone back and forth on this. With Unreal Engine, it would be really easy to put in like almost like photorealistic grass. But once we start making things like too real, they start to look almost worse. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're going to do that or not. But a very good question. Somebody asked if the zombie dead bodies would ragdoll and would snow form on them. I actually think it is definitely possible for snow to form on the zombies. I don't think it's happening right now, though. I could try it out by putting a zombie there and having it snow on him. But it's a really easy thing to get the snow to form on him. So if it's not there, it's just like a couple, dials to touch to make the snow form on him. But I'm actually really curious to see if snow will fall on the zombies. The ragdolling, yes, we have that plan. We just haven't done that. Yeah, I think somebody's saying here they wish it's Luke saying that I wish the lanterns would turn on. There's an off lantern and an on lantern, and I think the voxel creator is using the wrong one. Oh, come on. Like, let's get this. This would be easier if I just restart. And like I said, we're working on a web-based tool that uses our textures to give you a better idea of what your builds will look like when you build these, and lets you automatically submit them, I believe. I don't want to speak for our developer is making this. Okay, this is not what I wanted. Let's go to some blizzards, and let's put a zombie on the ground here and kill him. And we can sit here and see if the snow accumulates on him. I don't think the snow is going to accumulate on him, but it's something that we could just turn on, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm just more curious than anything. Somebody's asking about dismemberment down the road. I don't know. I don't feel like the... it's a horror game. I'm not against that stuff in general. It just doesn't add... Oh, he went away too fast to get snow on him. I'm just not sure it adds a lot to the game, except increases its rating, so which causes a bunch of other issues for us. So he doesn't look like he's accumulating snow, but we could totally turn that on, not a problem. I always like what I was doing in the last stream was, in fact, I can do this here, is like putting a bunch of archers on the structures. And then having them shoot at me from up there. I think this is pretty representative of what you would end up. Throw a glow stick at them. They're shooting lasers at us, which is really funny. And it's about halfway, we're a little over halfway through the stream. We're getting the Xbox question again. So yeah, we plan to be on, we would like to be on the Xbox. Microsoft has to approve us. We have to have a game demo first. Are the space laser weapons going to be back? Yes, the space laser weapons are going to be back, but for some reason our initial, I don't have a way of crafting one here. In fact, we've been showing them off. They're really cool. They heat the blocks up and they break them, but I don't have them set up in my inventory right now. It looks like one of our developers was switching the inventory, and I don't have a way to craft it. So I can show. If you look at any of our other streams, we show the laser weapons off a lot. In fact, there was a whole bunch of streams where we were just working on the laser weapons. Somebody's asking about, this is actually a really good question, do you have translations in the works? And they were asking about community translation. Doing translations these days is really easy because of AI. So AI, I don't know a lot of people know this, but AI was actually designed specifically for doing language translations, and the thinking part of it was like a side effect that they didn't anticipate. It's a very, very interesting story. They were building this technology called transformers to do translations, and they realized that the best way to do translations was that you had to understand the meaning of things. And when these things started working, they realized that they could reason too, and they wondered if they fed it more information, if it would reason better, like it was able to do math and science problems. And when they fed it more information, it got better at those things, and the discovery of AI was kind of inadvertent for that reason. But anyways, translating the game. We translated the first one. I'm really kind of curious. I'd ask the community is what languages you would like the game translated in. We have some data on that, the people who play the games. And by the way, if you're here from Brazil, shout out to you. We have a huge following of people in Brazil. I've always prioritized Portuguese translations because of our support in Brazil. But the game was always really popular in Brazil. But if there's some other language that you believe that the game should be translated into, I would love to hear it. So let me make sure. Are the zombies going to be able to break stone still? Yes, absolutely. That was all. You're never safe. That was the kind of one of the main things of the game. Somebody's saying here that they're upset about Microsoft getting rid of the avatars. I kind of feel you. I thought the avatars was actually a really cool thing about the Xbox. One of the problems that you have is that we're building the game in Unreal Engine. I made a comment in one of the other streams about how I hated the game engines, and I'm gonna stand by that because I do. The original Xbox, the original CastleMiner game was made in our engine, which was built on top of XNA. XNA wasn't a game engine. It was just a core set of Microsoft technologies, and we built our game engine on top of XNA. I thought XNA was such a great technology. I thought it was like the right level of technology. It was just gave you access to the core services, but didn't try to do more for you. And building an engine on top of that was actually very fun, very useful, and was all in C#, which made it super easy. And the data pipeline to get data into XNA was very simple and very extensible and very simple. I really just thought it was sort of like peak game development. But one of the things that they could do, because it was built on these core Microsoft services, is that they could provide you avatars in your game without any special stuff. So Microsoft just gave you a function call that drew an avatar in a place in your game, and it was very, very useful to have shared characters across games. The problem is when Microsoft got rid of XNA, they picked sort of like Unity as their replacement for that, and that was not built. That's a full vertical game engine, and it was not built on these core Microsoft technologies. So just getting a avatar to like randomly appear in Unity was not possible. So it's one of the things that you give up when you have one of these game engines, is the ability for it to have platform specific things show up in your games. So this is actually one of the reasons I don't like the game engines, is because they kind of isolate you from the very specific platform stuff like the avatars. And the problem that we have is that if we had Xbox avatars in the game on the Xbox, we'd have to do something different for them on the PC and the PlayStation and Unreal. And the real answer to that is that those technologies just don't, as far as I know, don't exist anymore. So I would love to throw avatars in the game. It would solve a bunch of problems for us, but it's just not something that we can do. I want to, like, since we're running around here, I want to get the last object, the last user-created thing in the game. And this is actually, it's funny, I didn't realize I did this, but this is actually somebody who made something for us. Last week, we'll do a build here, and this is Castle Sieged by Daniel Best, and it's a another castle. Will this one have Orland? We call this the Descent. Yes, it does. It's interesting. It's longer because the world is like twice as deep, so that ramp is about twice as long. I could actually, I'll walk through it here. Somebody asked, this is actually a very good question. Somebody asked here, is the PC version of the game the original game, same engine, or Unity? No, the PC version of the game is XNA. It's the original game engine. What we wanted to do at that time period was what we wanted to keep the Xbox and the PC version as close as possible to each other, so when we did updates, they would automatically go on both engines at the same time. It was actually very difficult to get the XNA engine to run on the PC because we had to re-implement all like the back-end Microsoft services for networking. It was kind of a cool effort, but it was a way to get there. The downside of it was that it made it virtually impossible for us to get to other platforms like the new Xbox, for example, because we were based on, I mean, it's kind of funny that using, this is a beef that I have with Microsoft, is that because we used a specific Microsoft technology on the Xbox 360, it made it virtually impossible for our game to run on the new Xbox. So like using Microsoft's technology actually stopped us from having the game on Xbox One. If at the time period we would have made the game in like Unity, we could have actually shipped it on Xbox One. At that time period, Xbox indie games only supported that one technology. And I think it would have been great for Microsoft as a minimum to support that technology on the Xbox One, their own platform. Like they had a whole community of independent game developers that had committed specifically to their technology that didn't have a pathway onto the Xbox One at all. Anyways, Castle Sieged by Daniel Best. This is, I think we started the stream off with this accidentally, but here it is. It's a nice little ice castle, kind of in ruins. Like one of the things we were asking for was castles in ruins. If you go to our Discord page, we have call outs for things that we would like built. So visiting CastleMinerZ.com and following the link to our Discord page, you can see the stuff that we want built. People are asked about Orlands, so I think I'm going to fly out to the Orlands. Is there a plan for Battle Royale or competitive PvP implementation? I wouldn't say that there's a plan for it, but it's definitely something that I want. I've asked somebody on the team here to start designing that feature for the game, and I would like to build a really good core experience around some sort of PvP experience. The world is built in a different, the world is very, very big right now. Like I've been out to 2 million blocks without any problem at all, and the world is built in a cellular way right now instead of repeating rings. We've talked about this in other streams. It's almost like a honeycomb structure, and you can fly to other towers in the world. So there's the tower at the very beginning, but if you fly far enough away, you can find towers, and there's actually an infinite amount of towers in the game. They're sort of like, if you imagine them as like pods, like a honeycomb structure. In fact, I think I have a picture of this. So we're trying to come up and design a PvP mode of the game that sort of takes advantage of everything. I had talked about this before. If you imagine in the old game was like a big bullseye with rings that just went forever with one tower in the center. And now what we have is sort of like towers all over the place, like next to each other in a range like this. So you can imagine the middle of these circles, each one of them is a tower. And as you come out here, it's like all the biomes and then Orland, and then, you know, it goes in reverse to another tower. But you can go to lots and lots of different towers. I would fly out to one in the stream, but it actually takes a really, really long time because the world is bigger than it was before. It would be pretty boring. Somewhere out there I have a video, I think, of me flying out, though, like millions of blocks. Before the game would start to, you know, do weird stuff in the distance, like Lantern Land was at 40,000 units and everything started to get weird after that. But Unreal Engine lets us go so much further. And because the world is so much bigger now, I have it set up in a way where it's like more repeatable in a way that is more predictable. So we're going through the mountains here, we're going through the Arctic. The ice out here looks really cool. Like this is one of the things I was kind of happy with. Like the materials on the ice actually, I think it's one of like the cooler things, especially when the light hits it in the right way. It just turned out really good. One of the things that we have, that's not a bug, but it takes a while for Unreal to load textures. One of the things that we did in the game, and I think I've never talked about this, but you might notice, is that the textures span bigger than you can see there's real reflections going on here, but the textures span bigger than one block, so you can tell that this pattern is, I think, 4x4 blocks. And we can choose that on a block by block basis now. We'll fly out here as we catch a sunset. And let me make sure I have all the comments on the screen while I'm doing this. Somebody's saying here, thank you. They're just thanking us for bringing the game back. I really appreciate that. It's such a great feeling to work on this product where everybody is so supportive and so excited about it. So it's like we want to make sure we honor that in the best way possible. Somebody's asking here, can we make our own avatars similar to the Xbox One? So this is kind of what we have planned. We're not going to have that ship on the initial. Thank you so much for the donation. We're not going to ship with a customizable character situation thing, most likely, because there's a lot of work involved in there. We want to get a version of the game out first before we put a whole bunch of work into a character customization system. Somebody's saying, just give me the CastleMiner Z where you could play as your Xbox avatar again. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish there was some way that I could just flip a switch and make it so that you could play. So here we're in the Descent, and you can see that I think this is why we came out here, right? The Descent is a lot further than it was before. Let's switch this off to the day. Yeah, we'll go daytime and thunderstorms. I was going to walk this. It's too far to see this. The transition here from the Descent to the too far down and over. Oops, too far. I worked on this a lot. This used to be more like a ramp, and it's a lot more irregular right now. And it's cool because there's also liquids and stuff that appear down in this place. A lot of people had different names for this. Some people called it Orland. I've heard that a bunch of times. The official name that we had was the Descent. Oh, somebody's asking if there's sound in the game. There is actually sound in the game right now. If you can hear this, I tend to turn this stuff off for the stream. There's a mixture. I think it's mostly new sounds. You guys probably have lots of memories of mining out here. And the lava starts to show up deeper. There's actually a different type of rock that shows up. Some people are commenting on the view distance, like we haven't nailed all that stuff down yet. And I'm also moving through the game faster than you normally would, so I'm not giving the game time to load. Kind of love the lightning, the effect of it. I mean, there was lightning in the original game, but it didn't have this. It wasn't simulated as well as it is now. These guys just came. Let's go up a little bit. It's a little bit more light. Oh, it's nighttime. Wait a second. Let's drag this back down to the day. Oh, come on. Setting up a bunch of archers here. Am I going to be playing with fans? Absolutely. I used to play with fans all the time. Oh, you can hold the mouse button down too. Somebody's asking if you had, like, these are a lot of details that, you know, we haven't. I think actually you do have to click it right now. This stuff isn't intentional. This is just like, you know, we've just getting the basics of the game working. Like right now, nobody is concentrating on, you know, UX stuff. They're concentrating on, you know, hardcore things like networking. Oh, I'm getting shot at. Okay, let's take the, this is kind of cool. So we can go, let's put a bunch of archers up here. Somebody's saying here, I'm praying Microsoft accepts the game. I am too. I think that, I mean, the game really belongs on the Xbox. And in the descent here, you can see we're down in the granite rocks. It's getting wet and smooth. You can see the raindrops on the thing. We're seeing our gold ores. These are the new ores. And it's going to get dark as we go deeper into this. And we are about to, we always called this, I think the last biome was called Hell on Earth. And, you know, if it was, we're still seeing some of the rock islands passing up. The lighting's a little jacked here, but, and then this would be where you would start to encounter the undead dragon if you were playing it. So, pop over this and we'll go the opposite way. So just, we're kind of nearing the end of the stream here. I just want to make sure that, one more time, if you go to CastleMiner Z, I'm going to put the link here, CastleMinerZ.com. you can wish list the game. Click here, wish list the game. Go to add to your wish list on Steam. This is our most important thing right now. This is our metric for understanding how interested people are in the game. So wish list the game, wish list the game. Let me make sure I drop that on TikTok too. This is a good example. I was saying that with the transition. I spent a long time on the transitions between zones here, and this is a good example of this. This used to be kind of like a line. I wanted the transitions to be like a mix of like almost like a glacier pouring over into this area. So did a lot of little things like this early in the project. Is it hard to make your own creations for you to see and review? No, it's actually really easy. If you go to our website, into the submit tag, there's a little tool that you can download, and you can go and make things. What are your thoughts about the industry moving away from physical discs? I don't see any reason that you would want or need physical discs anymore. Also, it's a size limiting issue. So I worked in the game industry for a long time, and one of the jobs that I did on AAA games was I was getting the game to fit and work on a disc. Let me turn the volume down while I tell this story. When the game was done, like getting the game to fit on a disc. And I gotta tell you, it was a nightmare, and there's a whole bunch of things that made that really difficult. The first one is that the size of the disc is limited. So if your build was too big, you usually have to take stuff out of the game to fit it on a disc, which I thought was just a horrible thing. Like, why would that limitation be the limitation that you would care about? The other problem was that load time on those discs was very, very, very slow, especially nowadays with people having SSDs and things like that. I think probably under certain conditions, you could probably stream data over the internet faster than you could pull it off of like a DVD. So we had to do crazy stuff in those days. Like what we would have to do was, when a game started, we put up you couldn't have delays. You couldn't have the game just do nothing for a long period of time. It was one of for example, the Xbox requirements. So if your game was going to take a long time to load, you'd have to do all this goofy stuff. So like typically what we would do is when you started the game, we would put a splash screen up, and you could see that splash screen for 3 or 4 seconds, and that would give you enough time to load a video. And then you could play that video for 10 or 15 seconds, and that would give you enough time to load a start screen in the game. And then after it loaded the start screen, you could keep the person delayed there enough until it loaded the next thing in the game. But we'd have to do all this chaining, and I remember actually having to do that myself, is setting up all these scenarios where the games would do these things to load the next thing. So not having to deal with those requirements of the disc is it's kind of nice. There was this era almost 20 years ago when games were being distributed on Steam where you would get a disc and it would just be like a key that would download the game from the internet. So I don't really understand, aside from like merch paraphernalia, I guess the second-hand use of the games, like being able to sell the game at like second-hand or give it to your friend, was an advantage of the game, of having discs on the game. And I guess it's kind of an unfortunate side effect of going to a digital system, is that you can't transfer your stuff over. And technically, if you bought the game, really it should be your you're up to you if you want to give that to somebody else. I don't think it's right that game companies would take that away from you, where you couldn't have a secondary market for games. I know that they like that, like the game companies like the idea that everybody has to buy the game, and I can understand their point of view on that. Is that if I play a game and I give it to my friend, and then he plays the game and he gives it to his friend, and then and so on, then there's all these people that have played the game, but I've only, as the developer, got sold that game once, and there's 4 or 5 people playing it afterwards, and there's a lot of games where that wouldn't make sense. So a game like this, CastleMiner Z, where you play online, it would make sense because only one person can play the game at a time, so that's a little bit better. But imagine a game where it disadvantages certain types of games. So let's say I made a game where there was only like an hour or two of gameplay. And this actually happens. There was a game, I know when CastleMiner Z came out, the game of the year was given to a game called Journey, and that game was only like an hour or two long. It was a pretty game, but it was only like an hour or two long. And if you had a game like that you were trying to sell, where one person could just experience it for the hour and then give it to somebody else and give it to somebody else after that, whether it's fair or not is not really an issue. It's just that you might end up not making that game as a result of that. It creates a set of conditions that make it impossible for a certain type of game to exist. This is actually interesting. I used to sit on a panel at Valve where they would talk about how to make their marketplace better, and one of the most interesting stories I remember them telling was that they were trying to move from a curated system to a completely open, user-generated system. One of the things I really like about Valve is that Valve always puts their customers first. They're always trying to figure out what is the best decision for their customers to give the best experience to their customers and give the best experience to developers. And I would go on this panel, it was like every few months I would go on this panel with a bunch of other famous indie developers, and we would brainstorm about ways to make their platform better, and Steam genuinely cared about doing this the right way. But one of the interesting stories that a Valve representative told me was that if they set up the situation, the marketplace in a certain way, it'll just make it so certain games can't exist, and that's something that they didn't want. They didn't want to kill game development. So, for example, what they said was that we're very, very bad at picking games. So if we have the responsibility of picking the games that go on Steam, we're going to do it in an inefficient way, and there might be a weird niche game that we would overlook that people would really like. And what they're talking about is if they've set up their marketplace in a certain way that game can't exist. And I know that they moved to like a machine learning algorithm that kind of decides what the best game is for everyone, and I have kind of mixed feelings about that. But the idea that they understand this concept that if you set up a marketplace in a certain way, you just end up not having those games. This is one of the things that I thought was really great about Xbox Live indie games, is that the Xbox Live indie games set up a situation where certain games could exist that would have never existed before. So the first game that I made on Xbox Live indie games was Avatar Avenue, which was a bunch of Xbox avatars walking across the street, and if you paid $1, you could run them over with a... in fact, I'm going to bring up a screenshot of this because it's been a long time and it's very nostalgic. This is the kind of nostalgic stuff for me. So there's no way, there is no way that this game would ever have gotten made on any other system. Here's a website that's showing off Avatar Avenue. This was actually this was the first game I made on the Xbox 360. And let's see if I should pull this video just in case there's something. Yeah, so there was avatars that walked across the street. They probably didn't pay, and then you could pay $1 and just run them over with a car. It was $1. It was funny. You know, I made this game in one night. I just, you know, threw this together. I thought it was cute and funny. I was trying to figure out how the avatars work, so I just made a game about it. But if the indie game system wasn't the way that it was, that just would never exist. To be honest, if the system was the way that it was a curated system, CastleMiner Z would never exist. Microsoft really put up a lot of resistance. That's actually not true. Valve definitely put up a lot of resistance to having CastleMiner Z on Steam. And in a curated system, people would just look at this and go, no. You know, like we just, you know, don't, very creative or fringy ideas, they would just say no. So the idea that these companies have embraced sort of open marketplaces, I really appreciate. And Steam right now is the most open marketplace that you can possibly have. And the whole philosophy there is that customers should decide what gets made, not people, not business people. So yeah, somebody's here. We're talking back about the licensing. I mean, somebody says truly, you know, people like the idea of truly owning what they purchase. I agree with the same thing. Is that you know, there's a lot of this stories right now about people making, you know, like buying movies and stuff, and then the company loses the licensing for the movies, and they pull the stuff off the service after you bought them, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Like you know, like like they give you this option. For example, movies on streaming services, they give you this option to rent or buy, but if buy means that they could just take the thing away from you at some point, then why even give you the option to do it? I don't understand why rentals are only 48 hours on those services too. Like, why don't I just rent the movie until I can, you know, finish watching it? Like, why do I have like a time limit to watch the movie? Like, I rented it to watch it once. Like, let me watch it once. I think we are in like, I make this joke that it's the Matrix was real, that society peaked in the year 2000 when, you know, there was physical discs and telephones and there was internet, but everything wasn't goofy. And right now we are in like the worst version of the future, where there's 15 different streaming services, and there's streaming services within streaming services, and you can't own anything, and everything is digital and streamed. It's absolutely horrible. It's like corporate interests have gone way over the top, and wow, that was cool. Corporate interests have gone like way over the top and are exploiting customers in the worst way possible. But it's sort of like it's not up for us to decide how the marketplaces work. All we can do is bring you great games, or try to. Somebody's asking about the energy and stamina system. What they're saying is they played the 360 version and the Xbox version, the Steam version was different. By the way, there is a switch you can flip in Steam to go back to the Xbox version. It's in one of the beta branches before any of the updates were done to it on Steam. But it brings up a bigger question about Steam and it brings up a bigger question about like Steam and what happened there. There was a company that did a bunch of updates for us on the Steam version of the game. They were a good company. They did great work with the game. I didn't agree design-wise with a lot of the stuff that they made, so I'm trying to make something that's truer to the Xbox version of the game, and then we're going to kind of like go from there. Like, so we're going to kind of bring back what the core Xbox version was, and then bring design stuff from that point on, instead of emulating the stuff that was done on the Steam game. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to disappear from the game, from the Steam version of the game. Like the loot boxes are going away, and the monster spawners and things. I actually feel like the loot boxes really screwed up the balance of the game, which, you know, kind of upset the core loop. But we're going to kind of go back to our roots and then build out from there. So we're not really going to be emulating a lot of the stuff from the original game. Somebody said they liked the addition of windows in the game for Steam, and that's something been talking about lately a lot. I actually could show you this example of this. What's the best way I could do this? Yeah, this isn't really good. I'm not going to show this on the stream. We've been experimenting with different solutions for Windows. One of the things I was a little bit disappointed with Unreal is that really great looking glass isn't going to work for us in Unreal, at least not out of the box. We'll have to come up with some creative solution for that. And I didn't want the glass to look stupid, so I haven't put anything in like that. But eventually, we would like to have some sort of windows inside the game. Will any of the user-created structures make it into the first release? I can't make any promises, but I'm thinking yes. Like, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to put these into the game. So I would believe that we probably will have some sort of user-created structures in the first release of the game. But I don't exactly know how that's going to work yet, so I don't want to make promises, but that is the plan, yes. Somebody's asking if there'll be a difficulty slider. There was a difficulty setting in the original game. So, yeah. Can you get struck by lightning? No, not yet, but I think that would be really cool. Are you adding anything new to the game? Yes, lots of new stuff to the game. I think we showed a lot of stuff in the stream already. That was new just today. We're remaking the game from scratch, so we're just by default everything is kind of new. So we're rounding out the 2-hour mark here. I think I'm gonna step away. I appreciate everybody showing. This was a great stream. Everybody showed up. Keep the user creations coming. Wish list the game. I don't know why the beta sign-up's not working. I'm gonna figure out what this is after the stream. I'll be streaming later again tonight, doing some more programming, so you can sit around with me and keep me company while I program. I'm trying to do some work on the original version of the game, and I'm going to run the AI tools over the community mods later on, and probably do all that live. So if you want to come back, this is probably in a few hours from now, we can do this, but I will be a lot less entertaining. Will any of the old music return? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we're going to pull any music out of the game. We're just going to add new stuff. So I appreciate, again, so many cool things. 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Such a big milestone. If you are not a subscriber on YouTube, please subscribe. Like, that's something that helps. All of these things help us out. Wish list the game. Wish list the game. Wish list the game. Just say it over and over again. Go to Steam. Wish list the game. Yeah, somebody's asking, wishlist the game, and if you can donate, like the page, we appreciate any donations that people have, and we're happy to be doing this for you. Oh, it's cool. We're getting like a little sunset going into the end of the stream here, so we can sit here and watch the clouds and the sunset as this goes down. But I don't know. I think I'd probably be doing that in an hour or two. I mean, I'm working on the game basically all day, all night. So I pop the stream on every once in a while. This will be a programming stream, so not as visually entertaining as this. But if you're into, here we go. We're like, the shadows are creeping up over the ground, and we're about to go into a sunset. Kind of cool. As day turns to night, we end the stream. Thank you for everybody for showing up. I appreciate this. we will do this again next week. And if you want to come join the dev stream, like I'll tell you what, you want to see the dev stream, subscribe to our channel, and we will and you'll know when I come online because you'll be notified. So cheers and thank you.